Now, the real problem is we only seem to relate to each other as either friend or foe. Right. Sure, sure. Um, you know, it's either, you know, straight or gay. Right, right. It's either, your way or the highway, right? Type mentality, right? And that's part of the problem. That's how Pastor Davis was too, right? And even Jesus said, if you're not for me, you're against me, right? Which is true, which is true. And that's why we know we're not following the right spirit sometimes, right? Obviously, we just don't want to get along, and something taught us not to get along with each other. And it seems to be what we're really doing, more than trying to get along. Really, we're not that different. Maybe the climate changed your appearance over thousands of years. Come on, right? Maybe we were all light skinned people at one time. Who knows? Maybe we were all dark skinned people at one time. Who knows, right? But the problem is, right, we're just not getting along anymore. Mm-hmm. We use religion, we use sex as a weapon. Uh-huh. Whether it's with young children or older people, right? Again, another problem is the older you get, the less interested you get in sex as well. Again, right? You have what's called your peak years, let's say from 15 to say 60, you're willing to have sex with almost anything. But after you start getting in your 60s, you start caring less about sex too, right? Well, I still got a few more years till I'm 60, right? And I'm just saying, in general, when you hit puberty, that's when you start wondering about sex. Anyway, that's everybody, right? And we don't know how to talk about it, right? That's the other problem. We want to accuse each other of being sexual just for talking about sex. Okay. That's part of the problem too. You don't know how to breach the subject matter, and especially if you're gay and doing it in the butt, right? You kind of get a feeling that's not as natural as sex with a woman, right? And even other religious sources tell you that you should not lay with a man as you lie with a woman, right? It's kind of blunt, right? Though you can, right? It's not telling you don't do it because you can't do it, so you don't do it because you can't do it, right? Well, y'all want to argue about it and do it anyway, right? That becomes a problem too, right? So, after a while, it seems like all Jesus did was die, right? To cover any sin you can commit, even murder. Though he himself was murdered, right? Right. You kind of get the point, right? And what did he do on the cross that was different than the other people? He forgave it all, right? He said, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do, right? That's probably what really rose him from the dead, right? He practiced what he preached, right? That's why the woman at the well who had 6 lovers, or 5 husbands and a lover, right? And the woman caught in the act of adultery weren't treated by him as ordinary Jews would treat a woman, right? And you don't want to see that either, right? Christians blind themselves to the fact that we're all sinners still. They start acting self-righteous. That's their problem, right? Like they're perfect all of a sudden just because Jesus died to cover their sins too, right? Well, that affects everybody differently, right? Even gay people. Right? And they forget, well, if Jesus died for your heterosexual sins, he also died for homosexual sins, right? That's where you get confused, right? Dying for everybody's sin means exactly that. While you're still sinning, though, Christ died for you too, right? It don't mean you're not going to still do something you were taught is okay to do if you were taught you were supposed to do it or should do it, right? Or not, right? See, some people don't do it because simply they were taught not to do it, right? At the same time, and some people do it because they learned how to do it, though they were also told not to do it. They know they can do it, right? So that's the other problem, right? And the other problem is communication about it, right? You don't know how to talk about gay sex as much as straight sex because no one gets here through gay sex, right? Only straight sex is how you get here, right? So we know that too, right? So it's knowledge of good and evil that became the problem too, because either you're supposed to only have straight sex or procreative sex, but that also means what? You can't have sex for fun, right? You can only reproduce to make a baby, right? That's another problem, right? Though Paul mentions that in Corinthians, right? He talks about not neglecting your sex life, right? Basically. If you're a married couple, right? That's what he's talking about, right? Now he's wording it in ancient Greek, right? A 2,000-year-old Greek system developed by the authors of the Septuagint, right? Which the disciples based their Greek upon, right? It's really from the Septuagint you get the Greek you get in the New Testament, right? It's not even normal Greek, by the way. But again, right? You got to study into that too to know that, right? The Bible talks of studying to show yourself approved unto God because you don't know anything, right? Either, unless someone shows it to you, right? And then you can deny it's God showing to you because God's spirit, right? And then all you got is man to show you things, right? Over God because you can't see God and live, right? I know. That's another problem, right? So we're all fighting over the same problem. We don't know how we got here or who got us here or why we're here sometimes, right? And we seem to take it out on each other more than working together, right? You can't see that either. Right. All right, have a nice day.